Good morning, and it's an honor to be with you again. You know, when we spoke last year, we talked about the counterculture. And how do you fight against the counterculture, the cancel culture? You refuse to be canceled. Be proud of who you are, but be proud of what you believe in. And if you will stand up, you can't be canceled. But now the radical left has taken their fight against us to a new level. If you've paid any attention to the news, you will undoubtedly have seen me and my family on the news because we are now under a ruthless and false attack by the January 6th committee. Because they have decided they want to push a narrative that somehow I gave reconnaissance tours of the Capitol the day before the attacks of January 6th. The thing about this is they have looked at the evidence and they know it's false. And in fact, the Capitol Police looked at the same evidence and said there's nothing to this is false. When they first made the accusation, some told me, said, look, we know how you deal with this. Just kind of be quiet and it'll go away. But I said, I'm not going to be quiet. Because what they're saying is untrue, and right now we are in a war against the truth in this nation. We have to stand up for truth, because if they can destroy the truth, they will undermine everything that we stand for in this nation and everything it's about. And they do this through hypocrisy. So they've accused me of giving this family that came to my office for a meeting and we took them to lunch, they're accusing us of that being a reconnaissance tour. But if you've been watching the news, guess what happened yesterday? The news came out that Adam Schiff, a member of the January 6th committee, illegally brought Stephen Colbert's comedy team into the Capitol and left them unescorted at night, and they were arrested. So while they're accusing me of giving illegal tours of the Capitol, they are giving illegal tours of the Capitol. Who's going to hold them accountable? Folks, if we do not stand for the truth, we will lose everything we believe in. You see, John 17:17 says, sanctify them by thy word is truth. If we allow them to successfully, and they have in some areas, attacked the truth. You see, there are several truths in the Bible. One of the truths is that God is the giver of life, and he breathes life upon everyone inside of the womb. If they can destroy that truth, then life becomes nothing more than fetal matter. The Bible tells us that there are two sexes, male and female. 20 years ago, we would have laughed at anything else. But if they destroy that truth, then we end up where we are today. There's a truth in the Bible that marriage is between a man and a woman. You see, what happens is when they destroy the truth, they know that they can destroy our nation, because I want you to understand this. Our nation is built upon one thing, and that is truth. We hold these truths to be self-evident. You see, what's interesting is Thomas Jefferson said he chose his words carefully, but Thomas Jefferson did not use the word self-evident. Thomas Jefferson, in his original draft, said, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable. You see, the word sacred means proceeding from the mouth of God. If we allow them to destroy the truths, and think of the rest of the Declaration, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To preserve these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. When they destroy the truth, then they can effectively destroy our government. Instead of recognizing that God gives us rights and the government's responsibility is to preserve those rights, then they take on the idea that your rights are given to you by the government, by whatever the government then approves or decides you ought to have those rights, like your freedom of speech. You're not free to speak unless you're not free to speak unless you actually speak about those things that we approve that are okay. Does that sound familiar? I'm not going to sit back and let that happen. I'm going to continue to fight. They're going to throw more at me, but I'm going to stand for the truth, because everyone on that committee knows that there is nothing to this, but they're willing to destroy the reputation, or try to destroy the reputation of someone just for their political gain, and we cannot allow that to happen. In my office, hanging on the wall behind me, is a picture. It's of the landing of D-Day. My father was a medic who landed at D-Day. And all you see is the back of the helmets of these young, brave Americans about to step off of these landing craft into a hellstorm of gunfire. Most of them, they knew, would probably never see the end of that day alive. And as I look at that picture, I often think, what were they thinking about? But I think the real question is, what is one thought that never entered into their mind at that moment? The thought that never entered into their mind is, what's in it for me? Their mind was upon future generations and the freedom and the liberties that they enjoyed to preserve them for future generations. When I look upon that picture, it reminds me, we have a responsibility, we have a duty to stand for what is right. We have a responsibility to defend the truth. Now, the January 6th committee, they don't understand why I'm fighting back when others haven't. Well, it's because I'm blessed. You see, the book of Matthew tells me that when men revile you, when they persecute you, and they say evil things about you falsely, you are blessed and you have a great reward in heaven, because every time they go after me, I get more blessed and I get more energized to stand for truth and right. My dad, the World War II veteran, he told me this. He said, doing what is right is not easy, and it is rarely popular, but it is always the right thing to do. This goes to us today. The only way they can succeed in destroying our country is if we sit back and do nothing. If we take some of the advice I got, if you just sit back and go quiet, it'll eventually go away. But then what damage is done because I did not take the courage to stand up and fight back? We can preserve this nation. I believe America and Americans deserve a nation that is free, safe, and full of opportunity. But we're only going to have that if we continue to stand together for truth, stand together for what is right, and we will be victorious. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you.